Tonight, Frank Zappa is having a birthday party. He was in New York for the opening of his new movie, Baby Snakes.
My favorite reason for coming to the Mud Club is that you can sit in the corner and nobody bothers you.
Now just imagine you're at a birthday party for Frank Zappa. That had to be a lot of fun. Yeah. Anyways, this is a TV expose on the Mud Club, which was the hotspot in New York at the time, where the freaks and the geeks could meet and dance and party and groove.
Like it or not, when things change, they change first in New York City. You name it. Fashion, music, art, the way we look, the way we think. Much of it happens in New York first. The disco era, which, as you may have noticed, ended rather abruptly with the end of the decade, began in New York years before the rest of the country. And years before there was a Studio 54, there were dozens of other discos in New York. It wasn't just the disco music either. Disco was a phenomenon that permeated our whole culture. We dressed disco, watched disco commercials on TV. The idea of dressing up, being fashionable, and looking, quote, good, unquote, was a disco sensibility. It was really a throwback to the late 30s and early 40s, a revival that began with the idea of camp back in the 60s, that by the 70s had lost its campness and became the norm. The next big wave, the new look, well, in New York it's already happened. It began with the punks a few years ago as a reaction to disco. If disco was dressing up, punk was dressing down. One of the first punk places was here in New York, CBGB, a club in the Bowery. Punk burned out very fast, as any extreme movement does, but the look moderated, and a little over a year ago, a new club opened up, a generation or two away from CBGB. They called it the Mud Club. We're taking you there tonight so that you can see what you're going to look like in the not-too-distant future. And if you think you're not, if you're sitting there thinking they'll never get me to look like that, consider what you looked like in 1965, then 1975. You see, 1985 is not that far away. Cookie Muller lives in New York. The Mud Club is a regular hangout for her.
It opened 1 year ago. Basically, it started out as a place, like sort of an not an alternative, but a place where people can go in who were totally sick of disco music. You know, not necessarily all music people. Initially a lot of artists went there first, and a lot of filmmakers. Whenever I go there, it doesn't matter whether I go alone or with people, because I always see, you know, everybody that I want to see there, usually.
Do you want something to drink?
Yeah, I'm trying to get to the bar and get something.
One of the people responsible for this new look is filmmaker John Waters, who, although based in Baltimore, influenced a whole generation through his movies like Pink Flamingos, Female Trouble, and Desperate Living. John has been a Mud Club regular ever since it opened.
I think it's was mainly a thing against places like Studio 54 is why it started. And now it's a very chic place in itself. I mean, I went to the party there for The Who. All the big rock groups have the party there. So it's almost become like Studio 54 in a way, but it's still a place that I think that's managed to be good over a long period of time, which is very difficult to do in New York. They usually drop dead after 3 months.
The downstairs is for the general public, or as general as it gets in the Mud Club. The upstairs is often used for private parties. Tonight, Frank Zappa is having a birthday party.
Yeah, video!
York for the opening of his new movie, Baby Snakes.
My favorite reason for coming to the Mud Club is that you can sit in the corner and nobody bothers you.
The Mud Club tries to maintain its mystique even as it becomes more and more crowded and better known. The owner, Steve Mass, agreed to an interview with us only if we agreed to conceal his face. We agreed, but the night we were supposed to interview him at the club, he hid on the 3rd floor and refused to see us.
I think it's a place where people, it's a fashion place, really. I mean, where people go with, the 60s are very big there now, which I think is great because I like that kind of music. However, I hardly think the 60s are avant-garde, but all these young kids weren't around in the 60s, so they're discovering music that has been around for a long time. And I mean, it's the first place where I've seen beehives again, and I thought that was really encouraging, that God, they're finally going to come back.
I've done some shows that, I did a kind of a fashion show, which was called Night School for Jungle Red. I wrote a little thing for myself to do about a person who'd had their thighs removed, and I came out with shoes on my feet. I mean, shoes on my knees. You know, so I looked real short. I socialized basically with midgets, and I couldn't understand why they looked older than their chronological age. But then I realized, well, of course, they age more rapidly than normal-sized people because they're closer to the ground. And as Einstein's theory proved, the closer you are to the Earth and gravity, the faster time goes, right? So it's like along those lines.
Wait, hold up 1 minute. Did she just say that midgets age faster because they're closer to the ground? That is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. Alright, disclaimer. Her views are not mine. She does not represent me or my YouTube channel. I mean, what in the hell? Oh, God. Oh, I can't breathe.
Well, I've seen all types there. I mean, I've seen people that are 17 that look like lunatic monsters to Halston, man. I mean, one night I went to a fashion thing there that was so ridiculous because it was all these Mud Club people, and then they had one row of chairs for Halston and Andy to sit on with a big reserve sign. I thought, oh, God, you know, why are they trying to do that here? What difference does it make, you know?
The consensus in New York is that even though most people have never heard of it, the Mud Club is passé, that it has been discovered, and once discovered is no longer the place to be. To be what? To evolve the next change in styles, or who knows what? You may think all this is ugly, but what is beauty? What looks good to you today looks horribly dated in 5 years. John Waters told us his idea of beauty.
To me, see, beauty is looks that you can never forget.
It's something to think about. Many of us live our lives without paying any attention to what's fashionable and what's not, absorbing change gradually. Most of us are like that. But I think you'll agree it's interesting to see where change comes from. And that's what we've just done. We'll be right back.
They were dancing and grooving. Play that funky music, white boy. Yeah, I doubt they were playing that. Let's see. The Mud Club was located at 77 White Street in Lower Manhattan. It was operated from 78 to 83, only 5 years. Well, let's see, it was founded by filmmaker Steve Mass, art curator Diego Cortez, and downtown punk scene person, Anya Phillips. It was named after Samuel Mudd, who treated John Wilkes Booth after Lincoln's assassination. Kind of weird thing to name a club after. Let's see, it featured a unisex bathroom, art gallery, live performances, DJs, It was the antidote to the downtown glitz of Studio 54. Whatever. A club is a club, right? Let's see. Andy Warhol, David Bowie were known to appear. Let's see. The Mud Club closed in the spring of 1983. At the end, it was not fun anymore. That's the not location, but the reasoning given. So I have more Candid footage on my channel from other spots in the 80s. You should check it out. Me, I'm going to go check out the fridge. I'm kind of hungry here. See you later.